These are stories where love meets betrayal. Stories that make you see life a little differently.
The rain started after I said yes. Not before, not during, after. I remember that clearly because until that moment, everything still felt clean, honest even. He asked me without drama, no trembling voice, no desperate eyes, just a simple question, spoken as if it meant nothing more than coffee or dinner. Can you stay a little longer tonight? I should have said no. I knew that even before my lips moved. But I didn't. Yes, I answered. And in that single word, something shifted quietly inside me. The rain began an hour later, tapping softly against the office windows, turning the city into a blur of reflections and moving shadows. I told myself it was harmless, that nothing had happened yet, that intention wasn't betrayal, at least not officially. I was married, 8 years, a shared apartment, shared routines, shared silences. We were stable, comfortable, and slowly invisible to each other. My husband used to look at me like I was a discovery. Now he looked through me, as if I were part of the furniture, useful, familiar, unquestioned. That night, the office was almost empty, the kind of quiet that makes you aware of your own breathing. He sat across from me, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, too relaxed, too present. You work too much, he said casually. So do you, I replied. He smiled. Not flirtatious, not yet. Maybe, he said, but at least tonight I'm not in a hurry to go home. Neither was I, and that realization frightened me more than his words. The rain outside grew heavier, louder, as if it were trying to drown the thoughts I didn't want to hear. I thought of my husband, probably already asleep, or watching something familiar, waiting for a version of me that arrived at the same hour. Predictable, reliable, safe. I wasn't sure I wanted to be safe anymore. We talked about work, about nothing, about things that felt strangely intimate simply because no one else was listening. There was no touch, no accidental brush of hands, and yet the space between us felt charged. When he finally stood up, I felt disappointed, and that was the moment I understood. The betrayal had already begun, not in action, but in desire.
"I'll walk you out," he said.
In the elevator, the silence was different, thicker, almost loud. The doors closed. The rain reflected on the mirrored walls, doubling us, trapping us inside multiple versions of the same moment. "You don't have to stay late again," he said quietly. "I know," I answered. But we both knew that wasn't true. Outside, the rain welcomed us like an accomplice, cold, persistent, unforgiving. He stopped under the awning. I did too. For a second, neither of us moved. "Good night," he said. "Good night." I walked away without looking back, my heart racing, my thoughts tangled. At home, I kissed my husband's cheek. He murmured something in his sleep. I lay beside him, listening to the rain through the open window. And I realized something terrifyingly clear. I hadn't been betrayed. I had chosen the first step myself. The rain didn't follow me anymore. It surrounded me, as if the city itself was listening. After that evening, nothing changed on the surface, and that was the most disturbing part. He still kissed my forehead before leaving, still asked if I wanted tea or coffee, still smiled in that careful, practiced way. And I let him. Not because I believed him, but because I wanted to see how far he would go if I didn't stop him. There is a moment when betrayal stops being a shock and becomes a pattern. I noticed how he rehearsed his excuses, how his lies grew smoother, how he began to trust my silence. The rain washed the days together. Monday blurred into Thursday. Time became soft. One night he didn't come home at all. No message, no apology. I sat on the floor, back against the couch, listening to the rain drum against the windows. I didn't cry. Instead, I remembered something my mother once told me. Sometimes people don't leave because they want to stay. They leave because no one stops them. The next morning, he returned smelling like a place that wasn't ours. His eyes avoided mine. His voice was gentle, cautious. "I fell asleep at work," he said. I nodded. I figured. And in that moment, something shifted. He relaxed, just slightly, as if relieved that I didn't ask more. That was when I understood the real power dynamic. He thought he was deceiving me, but I was the one deciding when the truth would arrive.
I started observing more carefully, not just him, but myself. How my body responded to his touch, how my heart no longer raced, how love had turned into observation. The rain became my companion, always present, never demanding. One afternoon, he mentioned her name, just once, casually, as if it had slipped. I looked up slowly, didn't react. "Oh?" I said. "She sounds important." He froze for half a second, then laughed. "Just a colleague." And there it was. The lie didn't even try anymore. That night, as rain blurred the city lights, I made a decision. Not to confront him. Not yet. I would let the betrayal finish revealing itself. Fully. Completely. Because some truths need time to become undeniable. And I was done protecting him from the consequences of his own choices. The rain kept falling, and somewhere between those drops, I stopped being the woman waiting to be betrayed, and became the woman who was ready to end it. The rain was steady that evening, not dramatic, not loud, just constant. It had learned patience. So had I. He came home later than usual. Not too late to be suspicious. Late enough to feel intentional. I was at the table. No television, no phone. Just a cup of tea growing cold between my hands. He paused when he saw me. Only for a second, but I noticed. "You're quiet," he said carefully. "I've been listening," I replied. He smiled, uncertain, took off his jacket, hung it where it didn't belong. Small mistakes. They always start small. We ate in silence, not the comfortable kind, the kind that demands honesty. Finally, he spoke. "I think we need to talk." I almost laughed. Almost. "Yes," I said. "I think we do." He took a breath, the kind people take before confessing or escaping. "There's someone at work," he began. "It wasn't planned. It just happened."
I watched him closely, how he framed himself as passive, as if betrayal were weather. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he added quickly. I nodded. "I know." That surprised him. He expected anger, tears, questions. He didn't expect clarity. "I've known for a while," I continued. "Not everything, but enough." His face drained of color. "You knew?" he whispered. "Yes." "Why didn't you say anything?" I looked out the window. The rain blurred the city into something unrecognizable, beautiful in a distant way. "Because I needed to see who you'd become," I said, "and who I would become if I stayed silent." He stood up, paced, ran his hand through his hair. "I can fix this," he said. "I'll end it, I swear." That was the moment, the exact one, when the last thread snapped. "No," I replied softly. "You won't." He froze. "Because this isn't about her," I continued, "and it's not about forgiveness." I stood, my voice steady, my hands calm. "It's about the fact that I learned how easily you live with a divided life, and how quickly I learned to live without trusting you." He reached for me. I stepped back. "I'm not angry," I said, "and that's how I know it's over." Silence filled the room, heavy, final. "I'm leaving. Not tonight, not in a rush, but soon, on my terms." He looked at me like a stranger, because that's what I was now. Later, as I packed a small bag, the rain continued its endless conversation with the night. Outside, the air smelled clean, washed, unburdened. I walked slowly. No destination, just movement. The rain touched my skin, cold, honest. I realized then, betrayal doesn't always end with broken hearts. Sometimes it ends with clarity, and clarity is a kind of freedom.
Sometimes pain doesn't come from enemies, but from the ones we trusted the most. Maybe that's how life teaches us to see the truth. Could you forgive such a betrayal? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. More stories are coming, stories that will touch your heart.